Hello everybody. So today's discussion is going to be on when to use an advocate. So I'm often asked, what is my personal background? Why is it that I am qualified to be an advocate? Well, first and foremost, my occupational background is 22 years of restaurant management experience, as well as teaching 8 years at Long Beach City College in their hospitality tourism program. In addition to that, I have a master's in business administration from the University of Redlands. And as a combination of all of those various traits, I am qualified to be a professional in the area of hospitality and tourism. However, when my son was diagnosed with autism back in 2005, I had to make a choice. I had to make a choice as to whether to stay as a restaurant manager or whether to take care of my son, because when my son was first diagnosed, his conditions were fairly serious. We got regional center services, and I started to go to various parent groups, and it was at a group in Riverside at a function called the Speech and Fun Camp that I first learned myself about protective supervision. And then after learning it myself, I of course went online and did as much research as I possibly could, and I learned all about the program, and I applied for my son, and when my son was 4 years old, we got protective supervision. And after getting protective supervision for my son, I did what I thought was the appropriate thing to do, and I of course became a focal point for passing on information about IHSS protective supervision to other parents. And I would do presentations at various functions, like the following year's Speech and Fun Camp, for example. And I would have a group of 40 to 50 parents in a room, and I would get them all pumped up about protective supervision. And then what I quickly learned was that they would go and they would get on the phone and they would apply for IHSS on the phone, and they would be denied themselves over the phone, and they would stop. And so given the fact that the function that I was doing these presentations at was typically during the summertime, it wasn't until the following year that I learned that one of the families that I was all excited about helping had called up IHSS and had attempted to apply and were denied on the phone, and they had stopped themselves. And that was when I had my aha moment. What if I actually was the one that actually did the legwork for these families? Because obviously, for whatever reason, they were having a block in getting to where they needed to go to. And so we formulated IHSS advocates. And since we formulated that over the last 10 years, because we started in 2010, we've overturned just shy of 600 denials over the 10-year period. I educated myself on the ins and outs of the system to get approval for my son. My son was my very first approval, and since then, like I mentioned, we've done this for hundreds of other families. At IHSS Advocates, we encourage parents and caregivers to go through the steps of approval themselves for protective supervision. They should apply on their own, and they should only seek out an advocate if in fact they are denied with a notice of action. We started forum groups like this Facebook group to assist parents and caregivers like yourselves in order to be able to navigate the process for protective supervision. Unless there is a formal denial with a notice of action, we do believe, as stated before, that this is something that you should try on your own. You should only use an advocate if it puts you in a place that is better than where you are currently at. Some advocates can be financially more feasible than others. With us personally, the cost of utilizing IHSS advocates to overturn your denial is less than 4 months of your soon-to-be newly acquired benefits. So it actually is very reasonable, and considering the fact that in most cases there is approximately 8 months worth of retro by the time we actually get approval, it ends up being a situation where after paying our fee, there's money left over for the family, and then going forward, the benefits are completely theirs. Please consider that the fee that you get when you get retro is money you don't currently have. We as advocates have a vested interest in helping you obtain this benefit. If you're not successful in overturning the denial, at least with IHSS advocates, you don't pay a fee because we are contingent. So we try to make this as painless as possible. As my partner David Wolf often says, it's almost like it's not out of pocket at all because it comes from money that you currently don't have at the moment.